Dear students, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss the different factors which affect the selection of construction equipments. At any construction site, construction equipments they form one of the most important resources required for construction. There are primarily four types of resources which are required in construction sites, namely machinery, manpower, money. These are the most important. Amongst these equipments or machinery, they form an important part. Now, in this lecture, we are going to see how does these construction equipment, how they form an important part, how are they important in as far as construction industry is concerned. Now, what are the factors? First of all, we have to see what are the factors which affect the construction of selection equipments. On what factors, on what grounds will we select which equipment we have to take, we have to choose, and which equipments we have to skip. First one is availability of the equipment. As far as possible, the equipment which is available in the market should be used. That equipment should be used which is easily available, because this will avoid delays in delivery and it will lead to increase. Because if there is any delay in the delivery, then there will be a delay, this will lead to a increase in the cost of production. The second one is existing equipment. If, say for an example, a building company, a construction company has got a certain equipment A which was used in a previous project A. So if that same equipment can be used in the new project B, then we'll try that same equipment be used. Then the third one is standard equipment. Standard equipment is one whose spare parts are easily available and trained operators are available. Because if we buy some local equipment, then always there is a problem of spare parts. If one of the parts stops working, then it's quite problematic. Then special equipments should be used. In case of operating cost, this is the most important thing. We have to analyze what is the operating cost, because operating cost of equipment, this adds to the total cost of a project. So lesser the operating cost, lesser will be the project cost. The next one is ingenious equipment. It is always good to purchase those equipments which are manufactured in India. Same is the case, because if we buy anything from abroad and in case of emergency, or in case we are not getting the spare parts on time, that will lead to a delay. Then oldness, new developments in the existing design of equipment should be considered. Newly developed models, newly developed equipment should be used. Economic life. What is the economic life? Economic life is that life or that period for which an equipment can be used efficiently. Next one is cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis for various alternatives. What we do basically, we analyze, on one hand we analyze the cost. What is the cost of a particular equipment? Say for example, an excavator. Say for an excavator is costing 1.5 lakhs. And then on the other hand, we will analyze the benefit, the work which this equipment is doing. So if the cost is more than the benefit or the work done, then it is not good. So always the benefit or the work done by the equipment should be more than the cost. Then sustainability of equipment for future. Such equipment should be chosen which can be used in future projects also. Then next is the study of site conditions, topographical conditions, type of soil, existing roads and other working conditions. These must be analyzed first of all. Then the size of equipment. Smaller the equipment, more easy is the handling. So as far as handling of an equipment is concerned, size matters, because more will be the size, more will be the amount of labors required to handle those equipments. So as far as possible, we should try to use smaller equipments. Now, in this table, some equipments are shown for different activities. As we are already aware, in case of excavation, mostly we use pile drivers for wherever piling work is done, pile foundation is done. In cranes are there, clamshell, drag line, shovel. For compaction, we use different types of rollers, sheep foot roller, grid roller, vibratory roller. For drilling, we use different types of drills. If we have to do some tunneling work, we use a tunnel boring machine. Then there are rotary drills, percussion drills. Then for lifting or erecting purpose, as in the case of bridges, we have to lift heavy parts, say for decks. So for those purposes, derricks are there, boom type tower cranes are there. Then concreting, for concreting mostly we use batching and mixing plants, mixers, and then pumps. These all are used. Now, how are we going to analyze the cost of equipment? This is a very important thing. How are we going to analyze the cost of equipment? See, cost of equipment basically comprises of an initial cost and then the maintenance cost. What is initial cost? Initial cost basically comprises of the purchase cost, the cost at which we have purchased the equipment. Then there is some sort of taxation from the government in form of sales tax or some other form, or in form of GST. Then there is a transportation cost. We have to transport the equipment from the place where we bought it to our construction site. Then the next one is maintenance cost. Maintenance cost, the cost incurred in repair and maintenance. For example, the labor charges, the electricity charges, the fuel charges, the wear and tear which occurs in the machinery. So all these, they are included in this maintenance cost. One more important term is salvage value. What is the salvage value? Salvage value is the value of an asset at the end of its useful service. For example, say for we bought an equipment, say for a tunnel boring equipment. We have to start a tunneling project, and we bought a tunnel boring equipment, and say for its useful life is 15 years. So after 15 years, at the end of 15 years, what cost, what money we will get, what cost will be there if we sell it. When we sell it after its useful life, that is in present case 15 years. So what value, what amount we will get, that is salvage value. Now there are basically two methods of calculating depreciation. Now before this, I want to discuss one thing. What is this depreciation? Depreciation is the decrease in the value of equipment over time period. See, whenever we buy some equipment, it's not the case that the value of that equipment will remain the same throughout years. it goes on decreasing year by year, or say for after the useful life, it is not going to have the same efficiency as it had in its initial stages. So there are two methods for calculating this depreciation, for this decrease in the value of the asset. One is the straight line method. In this method, what we consider that this decrease in the value of the asset is evenly distributed throughout the years. Say for a particular equipment has a salvage life of 10 years, then this depreciation will be equal in each and every year. So this is the concept in a straight line method. So how are we going to calculate this annual depreciation? It is equal to P minus S by N. P is the initial cost, S is the estimated salvage value after N years. So N is the number of years, how many years we are using it. Now, if we want to calculate the book value, what is this book value? Book value is the value of an asset at a particular year. Say for we bought a certain equipment in the year 2015 and it has got a salvage value of salvage life of 10 years, that is 2025. Now if we want to calculate the value of the asset in this year 2020, that value will be termed as book value. That means the value of the asset at any year. That will be calculated as initial value, initial cost minus the total depreciation till that year. Initial cost minus total depreciation till that year. That is sum of the depreciations. P minus summation di, where I is equal to 0 to t minus 1. Okay. Now next method is sum of years method. So in this method, we assume that the depreciation is not uniform throughout the years, but the depreciation is more in the years, in the current years, and later on the depreciation decreases. It is not same as in the previous years. So for this we use dt is equal to n minus t plus 1 upon summation I into p minus s. So what is this t? T is the number of years, tth year. Say for we are calculating in the 5th year, t will be 5, and total n, total salvage life is 15 years. So then 15 minus t is 5, 15 minus 5 plus 1 upon summation I. Summation I is what? Sum of the years. Say for we are taking this t as equal as 5, then summation I will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. This will be summation I into p minus s. P and s have been initially discussed. So let us consider an example. Consider an asset with an initial and salvage value of 100 lakhs and 40 lakhs respectively and a service life of 3 years. Tabulate the book value of the asset with time using linear depreciation and then using sum of years depreciation. So in this example, we have an initial value, initial cost of 100 lakhs, then P is equal to 100 lakhs, and salvage value S is 40 lakhs, and service life is 3 years. What we have to do, we have to calculate the depreciation in different years by using linear depreciation and then by using sum of years depreciation. Now this is the tabular form. So in case of linear depreciation, we can see that in case of linear depreciation, you can see BV naught and BVC. What is this BV naught and BVC? BV naught is the initial book value and BVC is the closing book value. So initial book value in the first year will be equal to P, that is the initial cost. Depreciation, for linear depreciation, we will use P minus S upon N. So 100 minus this depreciation is equal to closing book value, that is 80. This 80 comes out to be BV naught for the second year, and similar is the case. And finally, we get a final book value of 40. As we have discussed earlier, for linear depreciation, we assume depreciation is uniform in all years. So this is 20 in for first year as well as second year as well as third year. Okay. Now let us come on to sum of years method. In sum of years method, we'll calculate in a different approach n minus t plus 1 upon summation I into p minus s. So using that equation, we get 30 depreciation for the first year, and then 20 as the depreciation of second year, and 10 as the depreciation of third year. Okay. Now let us consider one more example. Consider a site which uses the following equipments for 1 year. 3 different equipments have been used at a particular site, and their initial values, salvage values, service life, and age has been given. So one different term is used here, age. What is this age? So age is the time, how long it was procured. For example, service life of a particular equipment is 4. Okay. But how long we procured it, how long back we bought it? 3 years back. Now if we are going to use it now, how much service life is left? Total service life was 4 and we bought it 3 years back. So how many years are left? Only 1 year. Okay, so effectively service life, effectively we can use it only for 1 year. So we'll calculate depreciation also for 1 year. Then for second equipment, you can see the service life is 9 years and the age is 10 years. What does it mean? Service life is 9 years and we bought that equipment 10 years back. We bought that equipment 10 years back and the service life is only 9 years. So no service life is left effectively. So no depreciation will be calculated because age is greater than service life. We bought it 10 years back, we kept it aside, we did not use it. Okay, and the service life was only 9 years, so no more service life, effective service life is left. Then in the third case is just similar to first. So we can calculate the depreciation by linear method and then by sum of years method. Now commonly used construction equipments are given: earth moving equipments, hauling equipments, hoisting equipments, conveying equipments, that is to transport some equipments, aggregate and concrete production equipment, pile driving equipment, tunneling and rock drilling equipment, and then pumping and dewatering equipments. So let us see these one by one in the upcoming slides. Now this is example of earth moving equipment. What is this earth moving equipment? Those equipments which are used for excavation as well as moving the excavated earth, transporting the excavated earth. They are known as earth moving equipments. Hauling equipments, for transporting different types of machinery. We need some sort of equipments which can transport our equipments from one site to another site. They are called as hauling equipment. Then we have hoisting equipments. What are these hoisting equipments? These equipments are used to transport precasted members For example, in case of bridges, in case of railway lines where we use sleepers, in case of decks, we precast decks and then we transport it to the site. So these hoisting equipments, they are used for transporting these heavy precasted members. Then we have conveying equipments. What is this conveying equipment? You must have seen conveyor belts uh, in railway stations, airports, and even in some industries. So what do? They convey, they transport the equipments, they transport the different goods produced by means of conveyor belts. Then we have aggregate and concrete production equipment. So this is the most common equipment you must have seen at sites. At your home also, if you have done some construction work at your home. So this is a simple concrete production equipment. A sort of mixer is there where we mix the aggregates and cement and water and we get a concrete. Then we have pile driving equipment. In case of deep footings, we use piles. So for driving these piles, we have got this pile driving equipments. It has got a hammer. So by means of hammering action, it is driven inside the earth. Then we have a tunneling equipment. Wherever tunneling work is done, wherever we have to form sort of tunnel, say for there is Jawahar Tunnel. So similar tunnels have been built throughout the country. So tunneling equipment is there for these sort of works. Then we have a pumping and dewatering equipment. Suppose our site, we started excavation work and there is a water table at our site. So water starts running out. So what we have to do first of all, before laying our footings, we have to de-water the site. So for dewatering, we use pumps. Okay. Now, seeing all this, you must have analyzed what is the importance of mechanization in construction industry. Construction industry needs mechanization, needs machine so that the work can be done speedily, it can be done timely, huge projects can be tackled easily. Say for huge projects are there, multi-floor buildings are to be constructed, multiplexes are constructed, high-rise buildings are constructed, bridges are constructed, dams are constructed. These are mega projects. So they need mechanization, they need machines. So these are the advantages and applications. Thank you.